Well, hello YouTubers and YouTube friends. I'm back again and got a real sunny day today, and the temperature's warmed up a little bit. It's about, I guess, 50, 55 degrees right now. Enjoyed my walk yesterday and enjoyed all the comments and compliments and all those things. But it's time for another walk for my exercise and for my health. And the sun's going to be bright today, so I'm going to be all squinty-eyed and there'll be a lot of shadows around. And today I'm going to be in a much more noisy location. Yesterday I was out on the old part of town. If you look behind me there, you'll see what is called Backbone Ridge. And on the far side of Backbone Ridge is the original part, the older part of Scottsboro. And I've come out on the bypass. It's called John T. Reed Parkway. And this is a 4-lane road that was built through here and became Highway 72, replaced the old Willis Street I was on yesterday. And this road was built and developed about the late 60s when it started, and it's taken all the traffic that comes from Chattanooga, Tennessee and goes west to Huntsville and Memphis and down that way. So it's a 4-lane road here all the way from here all the way up to Interstate 24 that goes to Atlanta, Nashville, and if you go down the other way to Huntsville, it hits Interstate 65, which goes to Birmingham and also to Nashville. So I wanted to get my about an hour walk in today. I don't know how long it'll take me to go the route I want to go, I guess till I get tired or get ready to quit. But I wanted to show you the newer part of town. It's going to be much more noisy. You can hear already the big trucks going by on the 4-lane. I won't be walking along the 4-lane. There's an access road, a side road here that runs between here and the Scottsboro High School. I don't really know how many miles that is. It's a few miles up there and back, but there's several businesses along the way and things to see. So I plan to walk up that way and let you see the scenery while I'm doing my walk and getting my exercise. So right now I'm standing in a Econo Lodge that was built here a few years back. So I'll start my walk from here. And I don't know if I'll talk as much as I did yesterday or not. People that have watched will probably say, yeah, he will. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to start my walk, and I'm going north, and you see the sun back to the east. And it's about midday. It's about the same time I started yesterday, about 11:30, 11:45. And this is Friday, February 6th, I believe it is. I'm not sure, it may be the 7th, but I'll say it's the 6th. And you'll see behind me as I walk by Western Sizzling. And this building and restaurant's been here a long time. It's one of the favorite local eateries. They have a real good business. They serve pretty good meals. And I'm not going to talk about this stick as much as I did yesterday. I've improved it a little bit. Now, I still want to get a picture of this thing so you'll know what it kind of looks like. Some people are interested in how you take videos for YouTube and things like that. But I've added a better audio cable to it from yesterday. And I'll try to get around somewhere along the way and get a photograph or a picture of the stick and the GoPro on the end of it, so you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to kind of make a little detour here to show you some things that are in this area here by the Western Sizzling, and I'll come back out and go on up the route I'd planned to take. But back in here, I'm going to turn the camera around. There's a little shopping center, and you can see the things on the window there, the buildings. One thing you see here is part of Northeast Alabama Junior College. We have a junior college out on the mountain that I talked about yesterday on Sand Mountain, and this is their beauty institute here in Scottsboro. And over on the other side of the street here we have it's a orthopedic center called TOC, And I won't walk real far down here. I want to walk far enough down that I can let you see two buildings that's down this way, and then I'll loop back around. One of these buildings, I think, that you may see off to the left there is the well, what do they call it? I don't know if I can read it from here or not. Human Resources Building, I think. Human Services. I can't remember exactly what the name of the thing is. Let's see if I can read. Jackson County Department of Human Resources. I guess that's what it says. And over on the other side here, and I'm going to point back toward the sun so you'll get probably get a glare on the camera, is the Jackson County Health Department back in that building. Two nice buildings. And I'm going to try to get better every time I do this on shaking this camera around. I don't know if you noticed in the video yesterday, the walking video I did yesterday, that it shows pretty smooth, but I had some graphics in it. And when it showed those pictures, the graphics bounced around with me walking. And the GoPro doesn't have a stabilizer system in it. So you can get a lot of bouncing and jumping around. But when you upload it to YouTube, YouTube does have a stabilization software program that asks you when you upload your video. Now, YouTube and Google are pretty sharp, and they prompt you when you upload a video. And the prompt that comes when you put up a shaky video is, it says, we've noticed that there's a lot of movement in your video, a lot of shaking in your video. Do you want us to improve it? And if you say yes, they have software that'll go back and smooth that video out. And it does make a big difference. But I noticed yesterday when you do that, it ties your graphics into the person, which is bouncing up and down, moving around, and it makes the graphics not so good. So I think the cure to that is to, when I show graphics on my walking videos, where I'm going to use that stabilization software, that I'll make the graphics full screen, and then the software won't try to even out the bouncing, and it should leave them like they should be. Yeah, you're seeing the First Southern State Bank here behind me. I don't know how many banks we have in town, but there's a bunch of them. And you'll hear these cars zooming by. And we have a good number of motels in town. We don't have any hotels, but we have a good number of motels in town. And this is the second one that I walked by. And this one is called America's Best Value Inn and Suites. So you'll see that here. It says a king room is about $45 a night. So I guess that's a reasonable price. I guess the reason we have so many motels, we have a lot of sportsmen, fishermen mainly, that come into this area to fish on Guntersville Lake and Tennessee River. And you'll see, well, you'll see a rig there in the entrance of that motel. Some of these guys come in here with boats and automobiles and fishing equipment well up in the $100,000 range. And most of them, many of them, are not professional fishermen. Most of them are sports fishermen, do it as a hobby. But you really see some terrific rigs come in from out of state. And we have fishermen come in from all across the eastern United States, many states away. And there's some real big tournaments here every year that bring a lot of people in. So that's one of our bigger tourist attractions is bass fishing on Guntersville Lake. And the bass around here run, I think, up 14, 15, 16 pounds, the real big ones. And they have a catch and release program, so all the bass are put back in the river. and they have a limit size where you can only keep fish that are so big, so long. So it's a pretty good managed program. Here's another little shopping center. I'll try to show these to you as I go along. And this one has a very good pizza parlor in it called Gino's there. And Gino's has a daily special, all you can eat salad bar, pizza bar, chicken bar. And it's a real good, if you're ever in this area in Scottsboro, it's a very good place to eat. And this is a busy area up there. It's busier, this part of the town is busier than the part I was in yesterday, I guess, because it's here on the main highway and there's a whole lot of businesses up this way. And what has happened, as I mentioned yesterday, after this bypass was built out here, and it's still happening, is the new businesses, some of the old businesses, wanted to be located where the action is, so they left the old downtown part and moved out here. So they're still building. They're still building access roads and everything out here. You see one of the few Sears places still left around. We still have a Sears here. And I think this next building is a Linex. The sign says it's truck and Jeep accessories, lift kits, auto detailing. And they've got a nice four-wheel drive out here on the sign, pulled up on the rock. And this is a good area for four-wheeling. I haven't really been able to show you some of the hills and mountains around here, but there's quite a few. There's a lot of backwoods, there's a lot of unpaved roads, mountainous roads, and most of them are open to four-wheeling. So that's another popular pursuit in this area, is getting off the road with a four-wheel drive. Here's another motel. This one called Quality Inn. And the sign out front says, "You work hard, so come relax in their warm rooms, Wi-Fi, with a hot breakfast." Makes it sound inviting. The hardest thing with this little camera, being out on the end of this pole extender, try not to call it a stick, is keeping it oriented, keeping it even with the horizon. It's real easy, and I'm going to show you, to tilt it off one side or the other. That may make you seasick, I don't know. But that's one of the hardest things, is to keep it upright. And I'm holding to it with a round pole, so it's real easy to get it off the sides. I try not to do that anymore, any more than I have to. Try to make you a good video if you can. And I'll tell you what, you see little Ruby Tuesdays here as I walk by. Yeah, it's a pretty good little place to eat. Some of the chain restaurants, the food in all of them tastes the same. You don't get a lot of good variety, but that's a pretty good one there. Can't criticize it. We eat there every so often. But I was about to say, I was really pleased with the comments on that video yesterday. You know, that thing went on, what, hour and 3 minutes, hour and 6 minutes? It was long anyway. Probably, I guess that was probably the longest video I've ever made. And you know, when you when you get up into an hour length, you're getting up into the length of some older movies. They didn't go on much longer than an hour. But I had several people, and I could hardly believe it. I have some dedicated viewers. But I had several people say they watched every minute of that hour and 6 minutes, whatever it was. And I think I had some said they even went back and watched it again. I guess one of the best compliments, but all of them were complimentary. Nobody said, "Oh man, get off the YouTube, you're too old," or anything like that. But one of the best compliments was from Sebastian. Sebastian's in Germany, as I said yesterday. There's people all over the world watch these things. It's unbelievable. But he paid me some very good compliments. And his compliment was, and I appreciated it, Sebastian, that my videos were a good change. He said that it was calming, peaceful, not hysterical. Sober. I think he even used the word sober. But anyway, what I thought was good compliments. And I've had several other people, for whatever reason, say that my videos I make them feel relaxed and they enjoy it. And Sebastian was saying it's such a loud, hectic, hysterical world now. It's good to find some solitude and honesty. I think he even used honesty. So anyway, I appreciate those compliments. I don't know how to deserve them, but I do appreciate them. And I want to show you a flag here. I'm a fan of flags, and they have one of the prettiest flags here at this little car wash that we have in the area. And let's see if I can get it. Oh yeah. And that thing measures probably 10 feet by 20 feet or something like that. It's a big flag. And I really enjoy big flags and people that fly the flag correctly. But I'm sad to say that that one has some ripped seams in it. It's very expensive and a lot of money and work to keep a flag, especially one that size, flying correctly. I'm sorry to say that one has some torn seams in it, needs some repair. And I'm kind of I guess it's one of my pet peeves. I've been known around town to, and it's not just private businesses, some of them are county offices, but I've been known to, if I see a dirty or a tattered flag, to go in and confront the person in charge and say, we need to do something about this old tattered flag you're flying here, this dirty flag. I appreciate it if you get it changed. And most places will, and I've never had anybody get upset that I suggested that they need to fix their flag. And I'm gonna have to wait here. I'm about to cross Highway 35, and if you remember yesterday when I was at 5 Points, I pointed out Veterans Drive that went to Sand Mountain and not to the river. So that's the same place I am today. And I'm gonna go ahead and go across here. There's nothing coming. Hopefully I won't be run down. My wife warned me when she knew I was going out to walk again today to be careful, don't get run over. And I had one of my friends last night, Mike. Mike, you know who you are. Told me the same thing. He said, don't get run over. So I'm trying not to get run over. Anyway, that's Highway 35. I just crossed Alabama, Highway 35. It goes out to the Tennessee River, into the river bridge. And we kind of have a thing, I don't know if you'd call it a controversy or not, a subject of interest going on around town about the river bridge. There's an old bridge out there. It's a beautiful old bridge. It was built back in the, I guess it was in the 30s. It served its useful life. It was a 2-lane bridge. And several years back, they built 2 more lanes across there, but still use the old bridge. And just now, they're about to complete another 2-lane bridge, a new bridge across the river. And the word is out that they're gonna tear the old bridge down. So there was a group formed here in town to try to help preserve and save the old bridge as a historic landmark, historic monument, or whatever. And that's still ongoing. I think next week it may come to a head that the city council, the county commissioners are supposed to make a decision whether they want to get involved in it. And I think what it'll take, according to what I've read, is some governmental organization saying that they'll take responsibility for the bridge. If that happens, the Alabama Department of Transportation will turn the bridge over to that organization. But I understand that's a big responsibility. Could be a lot of money. But there's some serious feelings locally about save the bridge or let it go. So I'll kind of make a report after that is solved and see how it turns out. Here behind me, and this is unusual. At one time, we have both a Ford dealership and a Chevrolet dealership over there. And the Ford dealership was located out here first. And as long as I can remember, the Ford dealership here in Scottsboro and Jackson County is operated by the Harbin family. You'll see it over there. The Chevrolet dealership, which we'll pass up here in just a bit, and this is on the same lot, was, for as long as I can remember, operated by the Word family. And both of these dealerships at one time were down near or on the square where I was yesterday. But the Harbin Ford dealership located out here first, and the Word Chevrolet dealership stayed downtown for a long time. And finally the Word family decided that they would let the Chevrolet dealership go. So the Harbin family, and these are both local families, old-time families, Harbin family decided that they'd like to try to have the Chevrolet dealership too. And I can imagine that that's some touchy negotiations when you have two opposing car companies owned by the same family and located on the same lot. But anyway, they worked it out. And as you can see, business is good. You've got Fords on that end and Chevrolets up on this end. And matter of fact, I just bought my Toyota truck. It was a used truck, but I just bought it a few months ago from the Harbins. And if you ever need a new car, a good used car, and you're in the Scottsboro area, I'd recommend the Harbin dealerships. As far as I know, they've always been fair and good businessmen, good people to do business with. That's not a paid advertisement either. Just my personal opinion. And you can hear me getting out of breath again. Now there's a deal. Look at this old Ford right here. It says Cold Air, American Luxury. You can drive it away for $1,999. It doesn't look like a bad old car. But as I said, out of breath again. But I think it's going to be good for my lungs, maybe. Walking and talking. And it's really a win-win situation, I guess. I'm getting my exercise, and it's a whole lot more enjoyable than just walking, to be able to walk and talk. And then on top of that, I get to upload it, and people from all across the country and around the world get to enjoy my walk. You can't beat that. That's a good deal. Here's a Little Caesars. They have a good business. And I'm gonna cross back across the road and remember what Mike and my wife said is don't get runned over. So I'll try not to. But I got a little story here. For years, we've had a very good Captain D's fast food restaurant in town. It's been run well. It's been very successful. Have a good clientele. Everybody that wants fish or fast food fish goes to goes to Captain D's. Somebody had the idea that we needed a Long John Silver's. So several months back, maybe a year ago, somebody came in and built this little building, put the sign up, and said, we're going to go in competition with Captain D's, and we're going to sell fish and chicken. Bad idea. A bad idea. I don't know how many months the place stayed in business, but it wasn't many. And I think about the only cars that ever appeared in the parking lot were the employees. They had a few people come in. And I've got to admit, through the years, not considering the local reputation of the Captain D's, but I've always preferred Captain D's seafood over Long John Silver's seafood. There's something about the way they do their crust. It's not as crispy maybe as I like on fish. Anyway, somebody, I suppose, lost some money and is still losing some money. So if you want to start you a restaurant in Scottsboro, contact those people there that has a ready-made building for a fast food restaurant. And you may hear me sniffling a little bit. Getting out in this cold air, it's not too cold, and you can tell it's a bright sunshine. Getting out in this cold air kind of makes you get the sniffles. So try not to sniffle too much. I know it's bad. Mama told me it was bad manners to do that. But back to what I was saying about the response to yesterday's video. That does me good to do that, to see those good responses. I didn't have a single bad statement, and that's great. Now somebody will see this and give me a hate statement probably, but those have never bothered me either. Kind of like what I said yesterday is when you get my age, things just kind of fly over the top of your head, no matter what they are. Here's an addition to town that I've used a lot, and I guess a lot of other people have. A big Home Depot store. You can see it in the background there. Prior to Home Depot coming in, there was two building supply. Well, I guess there was three building supplies here in town. It was Word Lumber Company, which was the family that owned the Chevrolet dealership. There was a Patrick Lumber Company, and there was also a Marvin's, I think it was called. I think it was kind of a small chain that was here, sold lumber and building supplies. Since Home Depot has come in, the Marvin's has gone out of business. The Words, which had been in business for I think 115 years or something here, closed their store down this past year. And Patrick's is still in the lumber business. And both Words and Patrick's were great, highly respected places to do business here in Scottsboro for many years. And I've got a car coming out behind me. You'll see it's kind of creeping along, and you know what he's wondering. It's what in the world is that guy doing? He's from Tennessee. And I suppose people do wonder. And I had some comments about that yesterday, about not worrying about what other people think when they see you out doing your thing. We've got another little financial institution building being built right here. And I can't tell you right now what it is. It's kind of a savings and loan. I don't know if it's a credit union, but that's under construction. And on the other side of the street, we had a Spanish or Mexican family come to town many years back, started a little Mexican restaurant. The man's name is Glenn Garcia, and his family moved in here. And this is a great little, it's one of the best little Mexican restaurants I've ever eaten at. It's really good. You can tell it's done up well. We eat here a lot. But he not only built this one, I think he has 3 more, I believe, around the North Alabama and even over in Georgia. And he branched out. I think he built maybe a Huddle House and oh, I don't know what all, a car wash, some storage facilities. I can't name everything that he's gotten into, but it tells me that anybody that says there's not opportunity left in the United States are not looking around real good. Because he came in here and wasn't a smashing success right off. Started one little small Mexican restaurant. I think he'd been in business somewhere before, selling Mexican food. But he is a booming success. I like to see that. And I don't like to see folks that say there's no opportunity left anymore, or I can't do this, can't do that. You can. I guess there's a formula in doing that. And as I go by here, you'll see 4 fast food restaurants. This one being a Zaxby's. And Zaxby's is good fast food, good for what it is. I feel like I'm bouncing the camera around a whole lot. I kind of got my breath back. Maybe I should let up a little bit. And we're about to pass an Arby's. You notice all this traffic, and again, I'm out at about lunchtime when people get their lunch break and run out to get them some lunch food or go shopping or whatever. And I've constantly got it in my mind is don't get run over. These little Arby's there. And right over here is what's called a Crystal. I don't know if Crystals are all across the country now or not. I think this little chain started in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Serve little small hamburgers. They've kind of branched out with other things. But they have just a real small little hamburger, bun, mustard, ketchup, and meat with fries and a malt. That's about it. I think it's the equivalent if you live in some of our northern states or other places. I think it's an equivalent to White Castle type hamburgers if you don't have a Crystal around. But there again, they are what they are. And I'm getting in the kind of the thick of the resettlement of Scottsboro business here. One of the big draws out here was a big Walmart superstore that was built in this area. And I'll kind of brush by it on my walk. And off to my right here is a Papa John's, a Cato, and a Radio Shack. And before I started my walk, I went in the Radio Shack there to buy this little audio cable. I talked to the young man that was running the cash register, clerk, and he said got 40 to 50% off on everything in the store. I said, well, that sounds real good. He said, yep, we're having a closing business sale. And I'd heard that Radio Shack was being considered for purchase by, I believe, Amazon. And he said that it's this store closing, not necessarily all Radio Shack stores, but he said that there were, his information said there were multiple companies interested in buying Radio Shack. I want to show you some of our winter visitors here. We get seagulls. I think I mentioned it in one of my former videos. We get seagulls here in the wintertime. We don't have them in the summertime, but they come in droves. This is just a few of them. They come in droves in the wintertime. And all we can figure is our river out here has a lot of aquatic weed in it. Good bedding places for small fish, for bait fish, things like that. And you'll see them out on the water feeding on those small minnows and fish. But I kind of like those seagulls. Some people call them a flying rat, but I've never found much wrong with them, as long as you don't stay under their flight path too long. So I'm in the Walmart parking lot. And we have another motel down here, and it's probably, I guess for sure, it's the best motel in town. I've heard several good compliments about the rooms and the service and the cleanliness and just the general overall compliments about it. And it's a Hampton Inn and Suites. And it's kind of back in the corner here, and it's off to the side of the Walmart parking lot, which can be good or bad, I guess. But I'll turn it around and let you see the Hampton. And it's fairly, I think, what, 4 floors? Probably the biggest motel in town also. Let's see, I don't want to go all the way down by Walmart, so I'm going to cut across here. They kind of get in their spring supplies out. They got a little area here kind of cordoned off for the spring supplies. And you'll see the Walmart behind me there. There's not much to show in that. It's just like any other Walmart that you've ever been around or seen. I think they're all pretty much the same. They have a terrific business here, open 24 hours a day. And they do a big business. Now I need to walk back up to the main street, I guess. Let me think where I want to go. I may just go ahead and go around there, as there is in a lot of super centers, big box stores, some other stores located nearby. So I may just walk by those. This is kind of a little plaza here where there's businesses back out by the entry road, and also businesses around by the parking lot. And most of these are just standard type stores that you'd see, I guess, anywhere in the U.S. I don't know, across the world. May not have some of these, as I said yesterday, in the jungles of Africa or the sands of the Sahara. Anyway. I'm going to turn it so you can see that part of the store. I guess that'll work. And as I said yesterday, I always worry about whether my camera is doing its job and whether my audio is hooked up or not. And I meant to mention it, but I didn't. That back behind the old Home Depot, this used to be farmland out in here before this 4-lane was built through here. It was just out in the country. It was farmland back in the 50s and early 60s. And there was a horse track. And you can still, if you look on the Google Earth, Google Maps, look up zip code 35768, and you can see this area, but there's still an outline of an old trotter horse track, training track, race track, whatever you want to say, there by Home Depot. I meant to walk out behind it, but I don't think you could really see anything. You can see it on the aerial map, but when you walk, it's just kind of grown up and weeded. But trotter horses and race horses have been big in this area, I guess, since the settlement of the county back in the early 1800s. I had some kinsmen, some of the Matthewses were horsemen. In those days, you probably didn't have a choice, since there were no automobiles, no trains. You either was a horseman or a muleman, I guess. I think I had some relatives over, my lifetime that still kept and used mules, and kept horses on a small farm, things like that. And I can remember my granddad. He's gone on now, but in my younger days, I remember seeing him go out and plow, do his farming with mules, mule teams. This little building here shows how times are changing. It's a little game shop, it's called. And when that was put in, it was a video rental place. Can't remember, Hollywood 8 or something. Anyway, a little video place. And you know what happened to video rentals? Gone by the same place that the cord telephone went, I guess. A lot of things have changed. So I'm still on the track here. And let's see. I've been going, my little GoPro has a timer on the front of it. And it says I've been going for 40 minutes. And I'm going to walk up here and then do a little backtrack. Here's a little local restaurant that started here, and also a building for rent if you want to put a business in Scottsboro, called 50 Taters. Oh, 50 Taters. And they serve barbecue, prime rib, pork shank, steaks, ribs, just about anything you want to name in that little establishment. And that was started as a little private eatery. And they first located up on the square and then either built or rented this building here. I don't know which. But they do a pretty good little business too. They have it decorated in kind of a Hollywood film style. Have a full-size figure of Elvis in there. I think they got pictures of Marilyn Monroe on the wall, and it's a neat little place to go. What I'm hoping to do here, I'm walking back in behind the shopping center, and I think there's a little trail across here that I can go over into the cross-country trail of our, I'd say, new high school, our newest high school. It's been here quite a few years. And my daughter, I have a little daughter, Haley. Hi, Haley, when you watch this thing. I have 2 sons, 2 daughters. Jim, my oldest son, Jeremy, my youngest son, Christy, my oldest daughter, and Haley, my 13-year-old daughter. And there's a story behind that I won't get into. But, and I think my wife, Teresa, and Haley and Christy are kind of embarrassed by my YouTube exploits and my Facebook exploits. I think they don't think maybe I'm acting my age. But again, somebody paid me a good compliment on that. Sebastian, I guess it was again, my friend in Germany, had mentioned something about being an old man yesterday, and I think his statement was, if you can get out and know how to run a GoPro, walk and talk for an hour, and know how to get it uploaded and make a good presentation on YouTube, you're not an old man. So thank you, Sebastian. I want you to tell my daughter, my 2 daughters and my wife that they think I don't know, they probably think I need to be sitting in a rocking chair or something. Not going to happen no time soon. My dad, he's gone now. He died 6 years ago, I guess it is now. He lived to be 83, maybe 7 years ago. And he lived healthy till he was 83 years old. He would not ever, no matter what, sit in a rocking chair. He said that was for old folks, even when he was 93. And he had been fishing. This was in February, I think, when he passed. He'd been out in the cold weather fishing the day before by himself. And if he hadn't died that morning, he would have been out fishing that day. I guarantee it. Now, there's a little walkway through it. It's nice. I'm leaving the shopping center behind and going into the high school grounds. Anyway, my daughter is my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter is a teacher. She teaches kindergarten at a Christian school out on Sand Mountain, a place called Rainsville. Does a good job as a school teacher. My youngest son, Jeremy, is a history teacher and football coach. And there's a little private school down in Huntsville, about 40 miles away from here, that I call Randolph, that he teaches and coaches at. And my little granddaughter, Lexa, goes to school there. She's in, better get this right, I think she's in the 3rd grade this year. And she's in the choir and has all kind of activities. My oldest son, Jim, works where I work, and he's worked in the defense industry for over a decade now. does real good with that. And but back to my youngest daughter, Haley. She's in 8th grade now. I took her to school this morning, and she's just a little joy. Smart, pretty girl. And next year she'll be going to this high school. That's what I was getting around to. This is where all the local students go, the city students go. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And if you notice behind me here, I'm on a gravel trail. She ran cross country this year, her first year, and did real good. Every time she ran in an event, she had a personal best time. And at the end of the year, she had a little problem with pain in her hip, which I think is just a kind of little growing thing. And I'm hoping that she'll get back to running. But anyway, they got a fine little track here, and this little Scottsboro High School cross country team, I don't think they did it this year, but most years for the past many years have been state champs in their division for cross country running. John Esslinger was their former coach that really developed this program and did a great job. And John was inducted into the Jackson County Sports Hall of Fame in this last bunch of inductees. And that's something else. It was just formed this past year. A tremendous amount of work to get something like that started. But every year now they'll have nomination and inductions into the Jackson County Sports Hall of Fame. I think they plan to bring in about 10 or 15 a year, I think. Anyway, it's a nice facility they have here. Let me turn around and see if I can show it. I have to turn on the little monitor on the back of the GoPro when I'm looking away from it, so I can kind of see where I'm pointing. They have a nice lake here, and that's the school you're seeing, and back there is the gymnasium, and back over there is the softball, baseball fields, and they have a practice field here for the band and whatever, practice like a football field. But the main football field is located over in the old part of town. There was a terrific high school stadium built there back in I can't remember now, 70s, I guess, late 60s or 70s. It has been renovated. It's really done up nice. And there's just no way you could go back now, the way cost of things have gone up, and have anything like that nice of a stadium or any kind of reasonable money. So I think it was a wise decision by the local school board to decide to keep that stadium renovated. Some former videos show that stadium. And we have a few seagulls up here on the lake, just 3 or 4. They're strange. Sometimes you'll see flocks of 100, and other times there'll be 2 or 3. And I see a few Canada geese up here on the far side. We have, I don't know how many 100 Canada geese on the rivers around here. Big, huge, beautiful birds. I'll show you this old tree over here. I like this old tree, and it gets rolled quite often. You can imagine being next to a high school. Toilet paper rolls occupy the branches during the right time of the year, around graduation and some of the football games and whatever. It gets rolled. Students having fun. And I don't think I'm going to walk all the way around the track here. I've been going on 48 minutes, so I'm only 12 minutes short of that hour. And I have all that distance back to walk back that we covered coming up here. I wanted to walk to the front of the school here and at least give you a good shot of the front of the high school. It's still a very good facility, and I don't know of any plans to replace it anytime soon. But I said daughter will be going here next year, so we'll have she's on the dance team, and they come up to basketball games and perform at half times. They perform at half times at football games. So I'm going to turn around here and show you the building. Quite a nice building. So I walked, don't know how far. I'm thinking probably between 2 and 3 miles. By the time I walk back, it'll be 4 or 5 miles. But I see no need to run the camera all the way back. I think I'll go out by the big tree there. And the sign here says catch and release. We even have fish in a small pond. I think around here, if you get any kind of puddle, it stays wet most of the year. Before long, you'll have frogs and fish in it and coots setting on it. This is a beautiful day. Like I say, February, let me check I always have to have my cell phone tell me what day it is. I guess that's a sign of getting older, depending on cell phones too much. It is February 6th. And I just saw on my phone there, I have a YouTube message from my good friend Mick over in Britain. I never know to call it Great Britain, England, what else could I call it? Never know what to call that country. I guess Great Britain, England is good enough. United Kingdom would be another word, I guess. But anyway, Mick, I asked him to make a video, talk about his life. He and I correspond on YouTube and by message quite often. And Mick's about my age. And he told me he'd been having some health problems. Had a message from him this morning. He'd made a video, but he's having trouble getting it to upload. I think he said YouTube, Google rejected it. Some of you might have a suggestion. First thing I thought of and mentioned to him was that I know they will reject anything that they think has copyrighted material in it, music or other videos. I don't know that they'll reject foul language. I don't think they'll do that. They probably would reject descriptive photos, but I don't think Mick would have had that in his video. Another thing I mentioned to him that maybe he should check the type of file they only accept. They got a list of about a dozen types of files that they will accept, to check that. And other than that, I couldn't think of anything. I don't know that I've ever had one rejected. I have had a few brushes with copyright on some videos. You know, they have a method. Now, I don't know. I know they have software that can listen to every bit of video, audio that's uploaded and tell if it's copyrighted or not. It's some complicated algorithm of software that'll do that. And music, I used some music that I thought when I uploaded it shouldn't be a problem, but somehow that software went back and found that somebody had rights to that piece of music. I even had one, I didn't get any trouble for it, but they do not allow you to monetize those videos if it has any kind of copyrighted material. They'll still let it play, and some of them will even, YouTube is pretty smart, Google's pretty smart, evidently. They'll bring in that artist and put an ad on that page where their music appears and let him profit off of it, but not let the person who put the video up profit off of it. You probably can't see them because this thing doesn't have a zoom. I'll show you some of our Canada geese drifting across the pond here with a good audio, with a good resolution this thing has. You probably can see them if you look close there. And back to the high school over there. Seagull flying around it. It's just a beautiful place. But anyway, Mick was having trouble uploading his video, and I told him, I said about a 15-minute video, a pretty good sized file, especially if it's in its raw form, not compressed or anything. But there's ways that you can transfer a huge file like that, Dropbox and things like that. And I told him that if he kept having trouble, that maybe he could send me the file. It's hard to tell long distance what a problem might be, where if you had it on your own computer, you might be able to help a lot more. So anyway, I told him that we'd work out a way that maybe he could send me that file and I'd help him work it out. And we'll see how that works out. I hope he can. I know it's disheartening to spend your time to make a video and then you can't display it to the world as it is. And talking about that, talking about resolution, some people don't like technical things, they just like the scenery and whatever, history. But I enjoy the technical parts of the hobby too, and other people do too. A lot of YouTubers are kind of techies anyway, that like fooling around with software and hardware like I do. So I don't guess it hurts to talk about it a little bit. But this little GoPro will allow you to set the resolution. Now, I'm not going to try to explain what resolution of a video is. It's how good it looks, put it that way. But the higher you set your resolution and record in, the longer it takes you to work with that video, either in editing and uploading. The higher resolution, the better the quality, the longer, and I guess more trouble it is to upload it. And this may be a boring stretch right here because it's just an access road here in front of the high school. But I'll bat my jaws a little bit while I'm going down there. So when I first got the GoPro, of course I wanted to have the very highest resolution I could. So I ran it up to 1080, what they call 1080p. And the YouTube videos looked terrific. But on that one yesterday, I dropped it back to 720. You can't tell the difference. Only way you can tell the difference if you really blew that thing up, let's say you watched it on a huge TV screen, you might tell the difference between 720 and 1080 resolution. For what that's worth. I've had Bill and Tia, I believe it's Tia is his wife's name, again over in Great Britain, United Kingdom, England, said they have been watching my videos on big screen. And of course, being complimentary, they said it looks as good as a TV channel. Thank you for that compliment. Anyway, they plug in their link to their big screen and watch YouTube on the big screen. And I think more and more people are going to be doing that. I've done it and do it some. I think the preferred way still is to watch it on the computer screen. Some people watch it on their cell phone screen. Some people watch it on tablets, iPads or Kindles or whatever. And I noticed that all the software companies, like the smart TV people, are getting better. I noticed the other night that you can directly link YouTube to a smart TV right now without going through an Apple box or anything like that. You can just do it. So before I turn this thing off, I'm gonna get out my phone, if I can do it with one hand, and take a picture of my little GoPro, if I can. And I think I can. I'm not gonna make it a movie, I'm gonna make it a snapshot. And I really need to change hands. Probably bouncing all over the place here. But anyway, I'm gonna turn around so the sun's on it right. And I've got messed up photo. And this is what I'm carrying around. Maybe I'll take it this way. I can hardly see it because of the bright sunlight. But I think that took a photo. And here's what is looking to me at the end of this pole. Sorry for bouncing you around there. Don't have enough hands. Okay. See how long I've gone on. 1 hour. Is that 1 hour? 1 hour exactly. Well, do you think I should go for a record and make it an hour and 7 minutes or whatever it was yesterday? No, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm going to turn this thing off, and I've got to walk, I guess, another 2 miles back to where I parked my truck. This was fun again, and it really, well, that hour just flew by. And any of you that watched that long one yesterday, I'll forgive you if you don't if you don't watch another long one. I appreciate that so much, and anybody's that interested and dedicated to watch something I've done. But anyway, just being able to put them up and let people get what enjoyment they can out of them is good enough for me. I did notice that my subscribership is growing, and I'm not too far from 1,400 subscribers, which compared to a lot of people, that's nothing. Compared to a lot of people, that would be a reason for celebration, and I appreciate the 1,400. I've gained 30 or 40 or 50 over the past few months. So more people watching me out carrying around this camera. I had another thought on my mind there, but it's kind of left me. And the wind's blowing again today. I've got my little lapel microphone on, so you may hear some popping and cracking. Yesterday had hardly any wind, but today, since it's warmed up some, there's a wind blowing. And I've got a bus here stopping like he's wanting to give me a ride. She saw me walking. I guess she thought an old senior citizen needed a ride. But anyway, okay. Thank you again, and that's a sincere thank you. Maybe this one will turn out watchable. And I've started on a project this morning. I'd say I'm going for that record. Started on a project this morning to kind of move some of my amateur radio equipment around in my shack, studio, barn, office, whatever you want to call it. So that may occupy me over some of the weekend. And I don't know that I'll do a how-to on it. I found if you do how-to on projects, it takes you about twice as long to do the project. So I don't know that I'll do that. Anyway, I'm going to stop with this little hedge right here, say my goodbyes. And I think I've made videos the last 3 or 4 days in a row, and that's an all-time record for me too. But you can tell I've got a little more spare time than what I had. But anyway, this is it for the day. So Richard Matthews, Mess About One, saying thank you for joining me, and I'll be on and see you later. Thanks a lot.